contest. Look, the Warriors led by as many as 20. Houston got this one pretty fairly close, but weren't able to close it out in the third, and Golden State ran away with this one. Speaking of Curry finishing his night with 22 points, 10 boards, 7 assists, Buddy Hield leading the way with 33 on the day. But it wasn't quite enough as Golden State, the experience, the talent, the shooting of Steph Curry, they're moving on to the second round. Well, the Warriors' last ride, it ain't over just yet as we welcome in CBS Sports NBA analyst Bill Ryder and former coach and player Avery Johnson. So, guys, I was talking about this throughout this entire series. You know, you have this youth, you've got this experience, but it looks like experience did eventually outweigh the youth. The Warriors put things in overdrive as they'll be moving on. But, Coach, what stood out to you most from the Warriors' Game 7 performance?
Well, the Houston Rockets need to go back in the laboratory when you're trying to play a zone defense against the Golden State Warriors. And then when you play a zone defense against the Golden State Warriors, you cannot leave two people open, Steph Curry and Buddy Hield. The zone is designed to force non-shooters like Draymond Green to shoot threes consistently. But for some reason, they allow Buddy Hield to just go off in the first half. And then Steph Curry took over in the second half. Steph Curry on their pick and rolls should have been trapped and re-trapped consistently. Somehow they allowed him to have shooting pockets and windows. But it was just the strategy of the Golden State Warriors. They left Amen Thompson open. They dared him to beat him because they didn't want any of their three-point shooters to really get ignited from behind the three-point line. So solid strategy by the Golden State Warriors. I don't know what the Houston Rockets were doing on defense.
Yeah, Coach is 100% right. And I'll just add that the combination of being young and inexperienced, Kiana, that you referenced, and the inability to shoot is a fairly toxic combination. Look, I think the Rockets have a really bright future. They're young. They were the 2 seed. This is incredible experience. Them Coach knows better than anybody. You got to kind of work your way up to that championship resume and that championship experience they hope to have someday. But they need some shooters. They need someone to go out there and create some offense. Jalen Green is way too inconsistent, was largely inconsistent in this series. I love Amen Thompson, but he's not a guy, at least from a shooting perspective yet, that has that in his arsenal. This was a tale of two very different teams, even though we were in a Game 7. You had a squad in the Warriors who have been there, done that, and who obviously can hit shots when they have the chance. Coach just walked us through how Houston made that easier than they should have. And this is a Rockets team. Look, they get a lot of offensive rebounds. They get out in transition. They score a lot of points that way, but that's not going to get it done in a Game 7 against a team like the Warriors.
Yeah, Coach, Bill touched on it a little bit because he said this is a Rockets team that has a bright future. But I think if we take a step back and just kind of look at their season as a whole, it was an impressive season for this young team. Now they're coming off their first playoff appearance since the 2019-20 season. Young talent, but in your mind, Coach, what's next for Houston?
Well, I agree with Bill. I think they need not just some more shooting, they need some experienced veterans, to guys that potentially have won championships on other teams, to come in and really teach these young players. It's not always about telestration from the coach. Your best teams, it's about demonstration from their teammates out there on the floor. The coach can only do so much, draw up certain plays, but they need active veteran players that can really show them on a day in, day out basis how to be professional, how to take care of their bodies. Jalen Green, he needs to live in the weight room the entire summer because he looked fatigued. He needs to put on a little bit of weight, but adding some veteran players is definitely going to help their coaching staff because the best teams are player-led teams.
Avery's 100% right. And what's really interesting here is that a lot like the Thunder a year ago, the Rockets decided to let it ride, didn't make a move at the trade deadline. Like Oklahoma City, Houston has really impressive young players, including some who don't get a lot of minutes, and a lot of draft picks in the years ahead. Unlike the Thunder, who let it, I mean, they added Caruso and they added Hartenstein in the offseason. But unlike the Thunder, this Rockets team, as Coach just walked us through, is missing something. They are missing that veteran leadership. They are missing that scoring. And they can go get it. Every expectation around the NBA from everyone I've talked to, and I'm sure Coach too, is that Kevin Durant is not going to be a Sun next year. he's going to be on the market. The Rockets might want to be in on Kevin Durant. We don't know yet if Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to make himself available, but certainly there are people who think that's very, very possible. Maybe that's a closer that the Rockets want to be in on. The good news for Houston is that they want to. They have the ability to go out and get exactly what Avery just talked about. They can go out and they can be superstars or it can be middle-of-the-road players, but they can go out and they can get help because they have the draft picks and they have the young players to do that if the front office is ambitious enough to do so in the offseason. I think, just talking to folks, I think they will be having gone out in the first round of the playoffs. I think they're going to see in this series, okay, we were good, we have a future, but we need to add the things Avery Johnson was just talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. But now on the other side of this, we've got the Warriors moving on. We got this matchup against Anthony Edwards and this Timberwolves team. Golden State was 3-1 against Minnesota this season. That was without Jimmy Butler on the floor. So, Bill, how do you see? Give me your early projection. What are you looking for in this one?
Paula's who the hell knows as an analysis. Is that good? Because I love both of these teams. So look, a little braggadocio here. I had the Warriors moving on, and I had the Timberwolves beating the Lakers. Minnesota's really good. Top 10 offense, top 10 defense. We know Anthony Edwards and what he's about, and we saw it last year. He levels up. He goes to another place, a better place in the postseason, in the playoffs. My sort of lean, the joke that a GM once told me is if you make a prediction of a team in 7, it actually means you don't know. So I'll go Warriors in 7 because I don't know. I mean, these are two really good basketball teams, and I'm not trying to disrespect in any way the Thunder. The Thunder are going to be the favorites whoever they play, but if the Thunder make the conference finals, whoever wins Warriors Timberwolves can beat them. I'm not saying they'll be favored, but both of these teams have an amazing ceiling, and they're so different because obviously the Warriors are led by Steph Curry. We saw that amazing second half where he just had 19 points. He's got that experience, the resume. He's won 4 championships. Anthony Edwards hasn't done that yet, but there's every reason to believe on the small sample size we've watched him that he will eventually. So, Kiana, I don't know, but I'll lean Warriors, and I can't wait to see who wins this thing.
Well, I'm going to take the Timberwolves, and here's the reason why. Especially if Rudy Gobert looks like Tim Duncan in this series, the way he did in that closeout game against the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think the Warriors have enough size inside to offset and reduce Rudy Gobert's production. And then with the Timberwolves wing players, they're long, athletic. I think they'll do a good job on Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. I like the Timberwolves in 7 games. I think they'll win the rebound game. The additions of Rudy, not only Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, and DiVincenzo from the Knicks, they were really important to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I like Minnesota in 7 games.
All right, we're on opposite sides of this one. Bill liking the Warriors in 7, Avery liking the Wolves in 7. But there's one fact that neither one of you guys brought up that I think is going to be very important, and maybe I could be very wrong. But the Warriors have played extra games